What's a disturbing celebrity fact that not a lot of people know? Paul Walker dated multiple teenage girls up until his death in 2013 at the age of 40. Most of the girls were around 16, the same age as his daughter. Edit: his girlfriend at the time of his death was 23. He started dating her when she was 16, and he was in his mid-30s.
Jack Nicholson was raised by his grandparents, believing they were his parents and that his biological mother was his older sister. His mom was only 17 when she had him, so the family kept it a secret who Jack's real mother was. He only found out when he was 37, and a Time magazine researcher contacted him to let him know they were going to publish the story. His mother and grandmother had already passed on at that point, and when he was asked what he thought about it, Nicholson said he pretty much wasn't fazed.
Murray, the Red Wiggle, has a disturbingly huge collection of rare vinyl records and rare guitars. It's not a bad fact. It's just kind of disturbing how much he has. Lovely guy. Just genuinely really nice. Mariska Hargitay, age 3, was in the car when her mother, Jane Mansfield, was killed when the driver of their car rear-ended a tractor-trailer. Jane was not decapitated, as rumored. Jerry Seinfeld groomed and dated a 16-year-old high school student when he was 39 years old. Edit: my bad, she was a 17-year-old high school student. Matthew Broderick killed 2 people in a car collision in Ireland in 1987. Brittany Murphy died in her home of pneumonia and anemia in December 2009. Her husband, Simon Monjack, died a few months later in their home of pneumonia and anemia also. During the Comedy Central roast of Pamela Anderson, Courtney Love infamously got plastered. When she got on stage, it suddenly cut to commercial. At first, people thought it was because she said or did something really raunchy, even for the standards of the network that airs South Park. However, during the Me Too movement, reports came out that she was ranting about Harvey Weinstein and his creepy behavior. Even well before that, she warned the world what he was like. Everyone ignored her. John Hamm hazed people badly in his fraternity. He was beaten with a paddle, dragged around a room by his genitals, and had his pants set on fire during the horrific hazing ordeal, of which Hamm was the ringleader. Not a disturbing fact, but kind of an awesome one. Mel Blanc, the original voice of the Looney Tunes, pretty much all of them, was in a car accident in 1961 that left him comatose for 3 weeks. His doctors were finally able to get through to him by asking him, "How are you today, Bugs?" He responded, in character as Bugs Bunny, "Just fine, Doc. How are you?" He made a full recovery but still recorded voices for cartoons while in a body cast. I figured we needed an awesome fact as kind of a palate cleanser. SpongeBob SquarePants. Those pants are actually a rectangle. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith once became a legal guardian to a 16-year-old girl so that he could legally live with her alone. When she later became pregnant with his child, he forced her to have an abortion because he was afraid that all the drugs they had both been taking would lead the baby to have birth defects. Snoop Dogg called Hannibal Buress a snitch for bringing the allegations against Bill Cosby into the public consciousness. This was on the Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber. I think either Comedy Central or Snoop Dogg's agent realized it was a bad look because after that aired for the first time, they never showed it again or included it in the version they published online. But you can find transcripts out there of the original airing that include it. They really memory hold this one. Boy George handcuffed an escort to a wall fixture and beat him with a metal chain. The deaths of Jerry Lee Lewis's 4th and 5th wives were not ruled to be his fault. However, there was a lot of speculation that this was due to him having a lot of pull with the officials in the area. If you look into the research and reporting done into the deaths of these women, it's sketchy as hell. 42 years ago today, April 1st, 1984, Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his father during a physical altercation due to Marvin intervening in an argument between his mom and dad. It was also the day before his birthday. His dad was first charged with first-degree murder, but then was given involuntary manslaughter after it was discovered he had a brain tumor. He was given a 6-year sentence and died in 1998 in a nursing home. Jack Nicholson beat a sex worker within an inch of her life. When Rock Hudson was first diagnosed with AIDS, he continued having unprotected sex with his boyfriend without ever saying anything. The boyfriend in question, whose name was Mark Christian, sued the estate for emotional distress, saying he had a right to know about Hudson's condition, and Hudson himself had a duty not to sleep with him because of it.
Christian won the suit with a $5.5 million settlement.
It amazes me how many women fans Chris Brown has, knowing how he abuses women. Yes, he's talented, good-looking, charismatic when he speaks to the public and makes good music, but he's an abuser. They don't change. Edit. I had to add this as I'm still getting messages about the Rihanna case. This comment is about all the women he's abused, not just Rihanna. He started with her, but it didn't stop there and is still going on to this present day. Abusing women aside, not dismissed in the slightest, I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and the amount of stories of him being a douchebag in this area are astounding. Just being a jerk with his expensive cars and stealing things from gas stations. I cannot believe he still has a career. Even locals hate his guts.
Charlize Theron's mother shot her husband, Charlize's father, dead when Charlize was 15 during an armed confrontation following a long progression of his alcoholism and domestic abuse. The father shot first.
I would say maybe lead with the dad shooting first.
Judy Garland was essentially treated like a science experiment by the studio during the filming of The Wizard of Oz. They had her on a strict diet of black coffee and chicken soup while forcing her to smoke 80 cigarettes a day to suppress her appetite, because she was 16 and they wanted her to look thinner for the camera. It basically set the stage for her lifelong struggle with addiction before she was even an adult.
You are forgetting the amphetamines to suppress her hunger. Amphetamines were very normal in that period as a mommy's little helper or a diet pill. But because you can't sleep on amphetamines, they also gave her benzodiazepines or barbiturates to take at night, which is incredibly bad for you because at first you take a substance that raises blood pressure and heart rate, only to combat it with a downer that drastically lowers both.
John Denver, during a fight with his wife, the subject of Annie's song Who Filled Up His Senses, took a chainsaw to their bed and cut it in half. Eddie Furlong, the kid from Terminator 2, was groomed by his tutor, and they dated when he was 13 and she was 26. She never faced any repercussions and even accused him of domestic violence. Yeah, lady, children tend to lash out against their abuser.
Joel Madden was 25 years old, dating a 16-year-old Hillary Duff.
Terry Crews and Drew Carey were both sexually abused. Dre got his feelings hurt by a news report and tried to beat the journalist who produced it to death in public at a party. He beat her, stomped on her, repeatedly smashed her face into the wall and a mirror, and threw her down a flight of stairs. It's a miracle she survived, but nobody cares. ETA. I always remember it as being a news report, but more accurately it was an interview of Ice Cube and NWA by Dee Barnes, who was more media presenter than journalist, but the end result is still the same. He beat the living shit out of an innocent woman because his feelings were hurt and nearly killed her and got away with it.
Damn, I had never heard that. That's messed up.
And she was essentially blacklisted from the industry for years afterwards, so it was extra messed up. Karl Malone impregnated a 13-year-old girl while he attended Louisiana Tech University.
He still denies the child is his. He looks just like him.
I thought it was common knowledge, but the voice actor for Ducky in The Land Before Time, Judith Barcy, was killed by her abusive alcoholic father when she was only 10. I'll spare all the details, but as a mom, that makes me sob. Her father deserves to rot in hell for eternity. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It really helps. Subscribe for more and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one.